Yeah, it's like this pipe insulation, and so I'm going to use some of it for blending today. Might have to cut it with my scissors here. Saves my fingers. How is everyone? Good. Hi, Mira.
Hi.
I haven't seen you forever. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's warm here in Oregon.
It's still cold in Michigan. We're
Is
gonna get
it?
snow on Tuesday, so.
Oh,
I
still
know.
winter.
Still,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, and it's unusually summer weather here in Oregon. I think we
Wow.
even actually made it to the high of 82 or 83 yesterday. Hi, Julia.
Wow.
Hello. Sorry, I'm a bit late.
Oh, you're fine. We haven't even started yet. We were just chatting about how crazy my Oregon weather is.
Oh, what a joy.
It feels good. Yeah, it feels good to have some sun. Hi, Natalia. How are you?
Oh, hello. I'm good. Thank you.
You guys having a good
It's
weekend?
also pretty warm here. We
Is
have
it?
like spring weather. Yeah, it's really nice.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think winter is over, but we will see. It's always, you know, everything can happen.
What's the typical weather there then? Is it like Oregon?
No, I think it's usually this month is crazy. We get a bit of winter and a bit of spring, like a bit of snow, a bit of sun. You never know which way it will go. But yeah. But May should be already like 20 degrees, maybe 15, maybe. I don't know. It's been so different over the years.
Yeah. Wow. So interesting. Well, I don't have very much experience working with this black UR. I'm going to move this down a little bit. Got this paper for another workshop that I'm doing, and I thought, well, why not try it with this waterfall? So I'm gonna try it out and see. Has anyone used black paper? I think Cindy used
gray. I didn't have a black one, so.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, you can tone your paper. I just thought it would be kind of different and see what happens. I like experimenting, so it's not something, I believe this is 500 grit, so that's even a little bit not as gritty as the 400 I'm used to. I did just mark out a space on here, and then I kind of lightly added the grid on here, and sometimes with our paintings, we don't necessarily need to grid it out. This one's actually got quite a bit of lines, if you can see.
Yeah.
In the picture, and I sent it over on the grid, but let's see. It's really important to make sure that we get these angles before we sketch out, and you can see the angles here, right? These rocks that are underneath the waterfall, these shapes. And so when we're learning how to lay out our drawing, I still use the grid when I'm dealing with pictures that do depend on the right angles. Like some trees, no big deal, or mountains, you can kind of just place them where you need to do. But in situations like this, where we're gonna run water over those rocks, it's pretty important to make sure that we have those looking right, because if we don't, the perception isn't gonna look right with the water. So it's gonna be another one of those paintings where we have like the tulip painting, where we took a while to set it up and then the flowers got put on at the last minute. Keep that in the back of your mind. We're going to be building this painting up, and the water is going to come in at the end. So I know that's what our focal point is, but because it's so light, remember, we don't want to lay it in and then put dark or the rock over it. Okay. So I know I get excited too, because I just want to like add everything in right away, but it's going to be a slow build with this. And what I want to teach you again, is that underpainting, that underlayment of that rock is really important, even though it seems not important. But once we lay that light water over, it's going to be, it'll pop it out. So I hear a ding. Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
that was my phone.
Hi, Nina.
I don't know if you can hear me today.
I can hear you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is a roll. So I finally got this pastel paper from Amazon, but there's no black in it. Can I use this? And what color?
Yeah, just choose the darkest color you have, and that'll be fine.
Okay, I think it's gray because these all don't seem to be too dark.
Yeah, you can use gray, and then you can use some darker, that palette of colors that I sent to you. The darkest darks on my palette are dark blue, and I have a dark, it's almost black, but it's a gray. And purples are really nice for shadowed areas, for rocks. Blues and purples. So I'm not going to move too fast. You can just.
My paper is very light. I don't have any dark paper.
That's okay.
We'll just start with I'll do like an underpainting of dark.
Yep, okay. Exactly. And I decided to use the blending because this is kind of my first time using this UArt, and I can do a wet underpainting, but that's actually brings me into that thought process of like, how do you determine doing a wet underpainting versus dry, or why do you choose a darker color paper versus a lighter color? Generally, I'm looking at the picture and the overall feeling, okay? And a lot of times complementary colors are really nice underneath the final colors. We're always looking at the base and building to the top. And this, I thought it would look really pretty to have some nice purples and blues and muted purples and maybe some oranges, some muted oranges in there to kind of complement each other. So I thought, well, this is kind of overall darker. It's in shadow a little bit. So it kind of led me down that path of choosing the dark paper. And then I thought, oh, I haven't even tried the black. So this is where it's kind of where my thought process was going. If let's say we were going to do a field of flowers, I'd probably use my beige UArt paper and do a warmer underpainting if I want it warmer versus cooler. The underpainting is to create a map, right? It's less detailed. You're just blocking in shapes. And I find that it adds a lot more vibrancy to your painting than if you were just to lay in a black rock, right? Or a brown rock. In this case, on the black paper, I imagine I probably could do that, but I'm gonna try with the underpainting and see how that goes. So the first things first, let's get set up. I drew out my little box. Gives me a little better perspective of the edge of the painting versus painting off the edge. It sets it up for me visually. So I'm going to use my navy blue new pastel, and I'm just going to come in and just look at the shapes like I've drawn on here. I'm going to just sketch it out. Paying attention, squint your eyes. That always helps. Squint at your picture. It takes away that detail, and all you see is the mass, the dark masses. So I put in, I don't know if you can see real light pencil marks of my grid to make sure that I'm getting my lines correct. And I think I sent over a gridded picture.
So Marie, should we do this pretending the white's not there, basically?
Yes, in a sense. Yep. It's just like when we're doing our waves, remember the foam and the white part, that foam? we're looking underneath it. Great question. So try to ignore the water. We're thinking, what is that water running over? What's underneath it? Values. And now we're also looking at, where is the light coming from? Well, it's kind of illuminating behind, right? If you could imagine standing there taking this picture, you probably would have a lot more warmth on the right-hand side, I feel like, right? This is more in shadow, but I bet it still has warm colors in there. Right now, the picture kind of is confusing because it's 2D, and we're going to bring it to the 3D. So think about layering our darks and then building that warmth on top. So Jeannie, take your dark color. If you've got a dark blue pastel or dark purple, dark blue, but really on the value scale, it would be a 5, real dark. And we're gonna just come in and sketch. Looking at these lines that I just kind of drew in, that's our darkest part. And it's gonna be just like trees, right? We kind of lay in, block in the shapes a little bit, and then we come back and we're like, okay, now we can really add that detail. Right now, all we care about is the shapes. We don't want to worry about the detail. And so I'm just coming along the edge here, the top of this ridge of rock. And I noticed that rock kind of comes at an angle here. And I'm just kind of paying attention. And I'm going to leave that space where the water is coming over. I'm not putting a lot of pastel. I'm just, you can even still see the paper underneath. And it almost looks like that dark ridge right here almost looks like it's about middle of the paper. And so, and here's this piece, right? So it's about middle of the paper. And it's kind of coming at an angle here. Take your time. We want to get this piece in. I'm just using the side here, okay? So, okay. Then we kind of have like this other line coming off the edge here, meeting over here. And you see that rock kind of coming out. And then we almost even have another angle. You see it coming down like that. Oops. Also, a good checking point is look at your negative shapes. You know, this is a negative shape, so check your angles here. We'll come back in just like when we do our waves. We'll reset our lines. Usually with the underpainting, we kind of sometimes lose that, and that's okay.
Marie, is there any way you can photograph what you're actually doing? Or
Yep.
Or do I just need to switch? Oh, I'm sorry. I just need to switch to Tyler's iPhone. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I'm just kind of coming in here and looking at, I like this log that kind of comes up here, right? And we've got another tree. We even have a tree that's kind of hanging out over here. Oh, we'll put them in. We may take them out later. Okay. I'm gonna just darken up the darkest darks. Squinting my eyes. Now I'm gonna take the edge of my pastel and I'm just gonna kind of pull down some color here. And I'll take a picture. That way you can see. And then we've got more dark underneath this rock. Okay. Okay. I'm just coming along, indicating with some lines here, the direction of this rock over here on this side. Again, this is just, you know, a roadmap of what I'm thinking about and reminding myself the direction. Right? Okay. And let's see here. Okay, now I've got some purples here that I'm going to use, and I'll take a picture of them. So I chose purple. I thought it would be really pretty. It's kind of a nice, it can be cool and warm, and I think that it will look good with these rocks and the water underneath. And it kind of looked very like a muted purple on some of those rocks. So whenever on the underpainting, we can always go brighter and more vibrant because we can tone it down. We can come back and tone it down. What it happens is that it makes it just that glow color, I guess, and it just looks so nice. So I'm going to take this darker purple and I'm going to put it where the trees are. So I'm going to take it just like this. I kind of moved my palette today over on the other side here, so. Okay. So I'm using this purple, and I'm just going to come in where those trees are, and I'm looking at the darker trees. I'm thinking right along this side. I'm just going to use the side of the purple and fill this in. Bring some up down in here. Oh, we'll bring some down in the water too. And then I've got the mid value. I'm going to come over on the right hand side. Just kind of there. Just a little bit. And then my lightest purple kind of indicating where that sky is. Okay. And then I have, it's kind of like a dark gray, might even be close to black. And I'm gonna just come in and use some of this in the dark, dark areas. This light. Just following the contour of the rocks, using the side of my pastel. Very light touch because we're gonna blend. And I'm just kind of coming back into those dark, dark areas and reinforcing them a little bit. Even though my paper is dark, this will even make it darker, and it will create contrast as we lay the real light colors over the top. So it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm just going to come in at an angle for the water because it is kind of dark down in here. Okay. Let's see here. Got some dark down in here, off to the side, just light. Okay. Take a picture. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, is it black, that dark gray or dark blue on the left-hand side top?
Yeah, so I just sent it. It's like a dark, it's almost black.
Okay.
Kind of looks black. Let's see if I can get a good picture of it. Yeah, I don't use this color very often, but I really want to build on that dark base. It's going to make the colors pop a little bit more. So I'm trying to get a pretty dark base. And it's going to be just like I said with the trees. We're going to come in and we're going to come back out. We're going to come in and add, and then so it's this give and take. We'll come over with our green and our trees over the rocks, and then we'll come back in with darker colors to then define our rocks along the trees. So it's just back and forth, back and forth. Right now, there's not a whole lot. I don't want this too bright. And this is why I'm also going to use fixative today, because I feel like this in the center, it's so dark. And when we lay the water on top, I really want to have that texture that shows through what that fixative does for you. It holds everything underneath, right? And then you can lay those lights over and really get that effect from the water. So, which I love. How's everyone doing?
Marie, what was that lightest color you used on a left-hand top? Can you please show that?
Yeah.
I don't have exactly that same color.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. Okay. Good, Jeannie.
Yeah, I wanted to, I mean, the yellow is really bright, but I wanted to get something to start before I even go to where you're going. Does that make sense?
Yes, so we will add some yellows, but when you lay it over some purples, you're gonna get, yeah, you'll get some peaking of that purple behind. So there is, I know, kind of a weird method to my madness of laying certain colors down. It's one of those things where you don't realize until all of a sudden you start layering colors and you're like, oh, I can see that really makes sense now. So trust me, I know it seems kind of weird laying that purple down, but it will make sense as we move through, right? So, but that's fine, Jeannie. If you want to lay your yellows in, you can do that too. So, and let's see, you were asking, Rashmi, like the color you were saying about the purple.
The lightest color. Yes.
Yeah. Did you see the picture I sent through of the purples?
Yes.
So that real light purple is what I used.
Um.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the left hand top.
On my hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have that, that's okay. You can use a lighter color of a different color if you like. But so the next step is blending. I'm going to take my blending tool, and I just kind of want to make it a not so detailed. I just kind of want to make it a little bit out of focus. I'm still going to go in the direction of the rocks and how I'm, this is still my map, right, of what I'm going to be doing. So I'm still going to come in here and just blend. This just saves my fingers. But you can use a t-shirt, or some have used those little things that the bananas come in, and this is, like I said, my first time using black, so it's different. Let's see. Yeah, great, Julia. Okay, so now let's start blending. And I'm just blend, blend, blend. Kind of looking at the rock here. Having an idea of coming up and more the water. Perfect. Okay, so did you find something to blend with, Rashmi?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Okay, so I started with the dark color, but if you have room for whatever you're using to blend, make sure you clean between your lights and darks, because you will kind of get it fuzzy over here. And I'm just coming in here. I'm just wiping my blending tool, blending those edges. Just like if we were using the wet underpainting, we're just pushing that pastel right into the sanded paper. And I've lost a little bit of these trees, but that's okay. We're gonna come back in, right, and make sure we get everything set up again. Just like that. Okay. going horizontal along this dark area of the rock, I don't really want to lose too much of it. Now we've got, got this rock kind of coming in. And it comes over here. And then I'm going vertical with the reflection of the water, pulling the colors down. Just like that. I'm gonna put my, I'll take a picture for you. Go ahead and send your pictures in. I'm gonna put this line back in it. It really helps me. Especially on this dark paper. Okay. Let me see what it has. Everyone, okay, good. Send them in. Good. Another trick, if you didn't grid your paper, also hold your pencil. You can hold it up to here, right, to check your angles with your hand, and then move straight out to check your angles, right? So you're holding it, right? Closing one eye, checking your angle, checking your angle. Good. Great. So one thing you want to keep remembering with water is it always seeks to be flat. Whenever it's falling down, it's always going to go level. So as we're drawing these platforms for the rocks, think about that. Think about as the water comes down, it's going to pool and go flat. So as you see the water coming this way, that indicates, right, that it's at an angle, it's falling. And then it kind of almost levels out, but now this is coming out at us, right? This rock, because you can see the water coming out, and then it comes towards us and falls down. So think about that where you have your lines right now. Really look at those angles. So like, Will, on yours, look at where this line right here, where it hits this line.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we come in and redefine, that's where, this is where we're going to check our angles again. So just think about that. And that's why the gridding helps, because you can see those intersecting lines and to say, okay, it's hitting halfway through this box. It's coming through this box. I know it seems crazy, but just not getting our lines right will totally throw it off. So take your time. I think it looks fine. We're going to come right back in now and we're going to redefine our lines. This is a lot what I do with the wave painting too. And what I'm going to use, I have a pastel pencil, or I have for today so you can see it. I'll probably use like maybe even that bright purple that I use so you can see it. So going back to the grid to check my lines, right? So I'm going to come in here, reestablish. It's coming up here. Can you guys see this purple okay as I'm drawing, hopefully? Okay. Normally I probably do just something a little bit, probably like my dark pastel, but for this purpose, so you can see. Okay, so I've got my other grid lines. The water actually comes into this third, which is crazy. And it's kind of like comes out at an angle, right? And let's see here. So here, it's just water that kind of pools right into here. I'm just going along to get my bearings of where the water is. And so, let's see. We've got here, kind of like this. And then we've got just a little bit over here. That's kind of like that. And we come up to about here. I'm just putting that in. And what is deceiving about this water is when you look at that grid that I placed on that picture, look how flat, see, look how flat that base where that water hits the pooling water right down in here. It looks like it should be at a real severe angle, but it almost follows straight across. So deceiving. That's why I like putting these grids on these paper or on these pictures, especially with water, because it can be so deceiving. Okay. And that kind of comes up almost to the flat part, and then at an angle. And it comes over that bridge. Then you've got that other ridge where it kind of trickles over. Okay. And then we've got this rocky piece here. Kind of comes up. There's a ledge, right? And then it swoops out. Got ledges here. Dark area. And another ledge. Right? And then it kind of comes out at a flat angle. Okay. We're just coming in and making sure our lines are making sense here. Now we've got kind of like some lightness right in here. That's where the water pools. We've got some water coming off. And okay. Come back up here and kind of maybe put that tree back in. And I do like that tree kind of coming in here. Kind of come over to the angle. We even have a log down here. It looks like this tree may be just like 2 of them. But it is at an angle. So it's sitting on the top here, this tree, right? So if we were to use our pencil again, it's not flat. It's at an angle. So it's kind of coming right here. And this actually kind of bends. And how do I know that? Well, look at this negative shape inside. Kind of comes down, right? Comes over here, and then it curves up. Okay. Let me send this over here. Okay, so Rashmi, you can take your blending tool and just keep blending, add more darks. So where those really, really dark spots, squint your eyes.
Yeah.
And then fill in some of those lighter areas, maybe with a darker brown instead of the blue, which the blue looks great for your dark areas.
Okay.
So yeah, fill in some more color. Don't be afraid.
Okay.
Yep, looks good. Looks really good.
Thanks.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? This is a little more technical. a lot of getting lines right. The fun part is going to be adding the water, but good, Nina. So go ahead and just kind of blend out with your blending, if you have a finger or a blending tool, and just kind of blend those lines. So we create soft lines, which I mean, like if you have a color here and then a color right here, go ahead and blend. Okay?
Okay, yeah. You know what I find? I don't know if you're using it. It's a sponge that the pastels come in. Can you use that?
Absolutely. Great idea. Yep. Excellent.
I can tell you using pastel paper, it's very different than
Yes.
using watercolor paper.
Yeah, you do want pastel paper. And do you have grit? Is it gray or is it just
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
It's got a lot of grit and like it creates a pattern.
Yeah, yes. So now you want to just smooth in all those lines. See how you want it soft. So you don't want a lot of hard, straight edges, like what I just said. So take that foam and now go and kind of blend in those areas. And then send it over. Okay. Next step. We've kind of reestablished our over our underpainting. We have a better idea. We've got our lines in. We have an idea where we're going to put water. So the next step is we're going to reinforce our darkest areas. So I've got some dark purple and I've got some dark blue. I'll send over a picture here. We're going to put this in the rock in the darkest areas, some down in the water, some on the rock, probably over in this shaded area. So we're just going to go in and reinforce those areas. So I'll take the blue and I'm just kind of putting it right over in here. Pulling down. I'm imagining the rock is like a cliff, right? And I'm just adding this in here. This is my navy blue. Just blending my finger a little bit. I have to say this 500 is kind of nice on my fingers, not as gritty as that 400. Come down into the water. I'm using horizontal marks here, and then I'm going to pull vertically. If I were to just add it vertical, that's okay too. But right now I'm building layers. And so when you have the horizontal and then you pull with the vertical, it has the reflection a little bit better. I'm going to add a little more dark over here. I'm just pressing a little bit harder. I still want this softened in here. Our detail will be the focal point, which is our waterfall. Okay. And then now I'm going to add my purple. I'm going to come up in here into the rocks a little bit. Just where those ridges are. You kind of can see them. Just using the edge. A little bit over here. Maybe just a little bit over in here. It's kind of warmer. Good. There you go, Nina. Yep. Keep blending. Okay. Let's start in on our trees. I'll take a picture and show you where I'm at. Because it might be a little hard to see, but. So we're just building layers right now. So darkest darks of the greens, I'll show you. Think about in the light and then in the shadow. So in the light, it's going to be warmer. In the shadow area, it's going to be cooler. So when I'm thinking of the darkest darks of the trees, well, most of this to the left is kind of in the dark. So I'm going to start with a cooler green and show you. Okay, I'm going to come over here because we're going to layer the lights on top of it. Squinting. And now I'm going to just come over with some color of this very light. And just bring some of this green in. There's even some down in here. We've got like this little canopy over here too. And I'm letting some of that purple shine through. So I'll bring some down in here, maybe a little bit down into the water. Try to think about, if I have a stick in my hand, a pastel, where else can I put it? Okay. Now I've got a warmer green, still dark. So you can see the difference. Okay. I'm going to take that warmer green and I'm just going to come over here on this right side a little bit and lay it over this cooler green. Just a little bit. And I'm going to bring some of that right out into where the sky, where you can see the sky, using the edge, just very, very light. Because we'll come back in with our sky and kind of back and forth work those edges. So I'm going to come right into the center of the cool. There's a little bit of green down in here, maybe a little here. Okay. And I'm going to come with got a darker yellow. So I'll show you these two. So here's the trees. And then here is they're like a green yellow. And I'm going to come into this light area. I'm going to start with the darker and just run that color just a little bit over. Just very, very light. It's okay to go over the trees. We'll bring those trees back in. Okay. I'm just tapping it a little bit. Very lightly. I don't really want to smudge it. Okay. Take a picture. Now, I did not bring that yellow down into the rocks because that would just be really too bright at this point. We haven't built up that rock color yet down below. So even though I brought in some greens as I was going up, those values weren't so different in contrast. So I decided to just leave that light yellow up in the top, right? That's our glowy part. And we can add that bright little fall leaves down on the rocks at the very end when we add our water. So let's go in and get our trees back in. So I've got another like hard pastel. It's a dark brown. And I'm just going to kind of push a little hard here, kind of bring it up. And again, just kind of putting in and thinking about, look at that shadow on that tree that's fallen over. So we've got a little bit of light hitting the top of it, and underneath is really what we see. So think about that dark shadow part of that tree. I'm just gonna kind of broken up a little bit. It's not a solid hard line. And then we've got this guy here. Now the shadow is over on the right hand side. So we've got the light shining up to the side. So we're going to put the shadow on the right side, okay? And just very light. Don't do it too hard because we'll come back in again, working those edges. Pretty dark right in here, right? Not another dark area here. Like I said, use those squint. That's how we can see so much easier. I'm kind of just coming right along that edge where that water is going to fall over, and I'm bringing that hard pastel, pushing a little bit into the paper and then lightly dragging it down. It's going to create these really nice kind of darker areas. Same thing over here. Not in an exact line, right? Because we don't want what we call worms, because we know the rock, it's got edges, and even though it's kind of in shadow, we can imagine that it's got all these ridges. Kind of pull that out. Okay. And let me get my picture here. So, yeah. Okay. And then coming right into here. And just looking at the dark edges. And it's okay coming back over these green areas because it's going to be a push and pull. We're going to come back in, reestablish. And we've got this little guy here. Got kind of a twist to it. Okay. Just going back into these dark areas. What gives that illusion of a ledge is putting that real dark color right below, and then a very light color on top, because that indicates, okay, there's a ledge in shadow. And so that's really what I'm looking at, is those dark lines of the rock. Again, bringing in some dark color or water. We'll come over here again. And then we've got that, another ledge. Each time we're coming in here, we're getting more definition. This is more dark up in here. Along here, got some. Okay. Let's see where you guys are at. Okay. Let's add some color to the rocks. I've got some browns here. I've got a cool brown and a warmer brown.
Marie,
look.
is this fine? I've just sent you now. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Did you send it through?
Yeah, I just sent it. You asked me to send
Oh,
it.
yep, I see it. Okay, so great. So now go in and you're gonna reinforce those really dark areas right in here. See those real dark, when you squint your eyes at that picture, you see the dark, dark, dark areas?
Yeah.
That's what I want you to do, is take your dark blue and go back in and then put those dark areas in.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yep. And what it's going to do is it's going to push those lighter areas back and create those ledges.
Okay.
Okay? Very nice.
Thanks.
This is a tricky one, you guys. I know this is a harder one for when you're beginning out, but I kind of wanted to challenge a little bit. And I mean, even for me, I'm having to really think about this. I might have to pull some colors, some different colors in, and see. So this is just the cooler brown pastel, and I see some light in here. A little bit in here. I'm just touching it with my finger a little bit to soften it. And this is a little bit warmer, not as red. And I'm going to put it down in the water. We can kind of see some rocks. I'm just going to just like that. We've got some over here too. I'm just putting it right on the tops. Right? Yeah. Got the Okay. If you kind of just tap it and then blend out the edges a little bit, you can almost create some rocks down there. And we'll be learning a little bit more about rocks here in a couple months when we spend some time on doing that. I'll take a picture so you can see. Okay. Send in pictures. Let me see where you're at. I know this has taken a little bit of time of layering. I've got a muted blue and some gray. And we're going to go into the rocks again. And I've got some muted purples. So I'll take a picture of these. Get that out of the way. So I'm thinking rocks in the shadow and rocks in the sun. That's how I'm thinking about the colors that I'm choosing. So blue, I'm going to take the blue and I'll show you right here. I'm going to come right in here on the edge in the shadow, light touch, just kind of add some blue in here. Right along that rock. And actually some up in here, I think, in that shadow. Maybe some up in here. And come right over that. Maybe a little bit of this down in here. This light. Right along the edge. Ooh, that's cool looking, Jeannie. I love it. Awesome. Yeah, so
That pinky red comes across far brighter in a photograph than it is in person.
Isn't that funny how that happens?
Yeah, because I'm looking at it going, okay, it's still a little. And then I look at the picture and I'm like, oh my God, it looks like I'm doing the whole painting in flamingo pink.
Yes. So what you can do is to maintain that brighter pink, you can actually come over that pink on the left-hand side and like tone it down a little bit with a darker magenta, darker, cooler. So it'll have a really nice, vibrant underneath it, but it will read, so it will pop that right side out. That's going to be a little bit brighter because right now it's competing. It's saying to us that the right and the left side is the same brightness.
Right.
So we want the left side to come, we want it in shadow. So take some of your purple and glaze over it, or you can even do like a darker value of that pink. Yeah, good. I'll show you what I've done with the blue. So we're just kind of building these layers. I've got the dark purple. I'm going to come in here kind of come up here. Got some purple down in here. We're getting close to using some fixative. So, and why? I want the trees to have that texture in the water too. I'm adding this really nice warm purple in the sunlit areas. And maybe even over in here. Ooh, nice, Natalia. Good. So over on the lighted areas on your left-hand side, again, just the same thing like with Jeannie. I love that pink that you've laid down for the water. So what we want to do is we want the right side to kind of come at a shadow, or the left side. So go ahead and take that dark brown and just kind of drag over your lighter brown on the left-hand side. Just darken it a little bit, because right now it's, again, reading that the light is shining equally on both sides, but it's not. The left side is more in shadow.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Good. Okay. I'm going to add some more of that green tree in here.
This is where you realize that all of your colors look completely different when you put them on black to when you put them on white.
Isn't it crazy?
It is crazy. I'm looking at them thinking that looks really dark. And
I know.
And you're like, no, that looks really
I know. This is, so I hear you. So what does that tell us? Color is relative.
Absolutely. And I don't have dark enough brown. That's what it tells me.
The color is relative. Whatever it's next to it, that's what it is. And so you're absolutely right. This is, like I said, I have not painted on this, so I'm just kind of like, okay, that's not what I thought. So it is, you're right. We're getting close here. I kind of feel like I want to lay some more brights down before I spray it. So I'm gonna drift in some of this goldy color. Just a little bit.
Marie, how much color have you got down in the very brightest parts of the water? So I'm using a sort of cream colored paper, and I can still see the paper. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, so at this point you're going to want to put more pastel down to have it.
Yeah.
Good question. Yeah. And so if you need to press a little bit harder, and you could even use some of if you've got rubbing alcohol, go ahead and use it if you need to.
Okay.
Because sometimes you just can't get it fixed into the paper, and yeah, sometimes I'm like, okay, this isn't working. And so I'm kind of carving into this tree a little bit. Now this is brighter than the picture, and that's okay, because I know I can come back in here and tone it down. Or I can just touch it with my dirty hands. That seems to help too. Oh, geez. Okay. Even down in here. That's okay. Okay. It's almost like even a darker green, if I have one. Maybe. Sorry, guys. Reach into my, it's like Julia says, it's like the paper is deceiving. Might even need my dark blue to come in here a little bit. But what will happen is once I spray it, it will darken a little bit, and that's really what I want. This is just a navy blue. I think it's kind of nice. It's a, will come in with that dark brown. Or the really dark, but it's a nice in-between color of that light blue and then that dark brown. I'm just thinking about the edges of where the water is going to land. It blends pretty nice with that. Okay. Well, let's spray it. Okay, I'll show you where I'm at. Does anyone else need to send in their pictures so I can look at it? Ugh, stinky. Really, I should spray this outside, so. Almost looks black again. But I'm going to be able to layer a little bit more better. A little better. This is a quick way too. It will darken the values of your pastel a little bit too, if you can't really get it that dark. So. Almost. Okay. All right. So trees. I'm gonna come in here. The light. Golden color. And I'm gonna go a value lighter. And just kind of blend. And come in with a blue. Just gonna put a sky here. Not much sky. It does look white. There's probably an overcast day, but I'm gonna add just a little bit of blue in here. And let's come in with our brown just on the top of that. Come back in. Just gonna lightly just lets this color just lay really nice on this paper. I'm using it horizontally. Very light. Bring it back down into here. And then we're going to come back into the trees. Oh, wait, before we do that, we don't want to forget about that other tree. Let's put him in. This is like a, almost like an army green. Just enough into the shadow. And then we'll come back with our, and see how it can skip over those dark areas and not blend. So you can get this really, really great texture with not a lot of effort. You're just letting that pastel do the work. And it's just coming right over what you sprayed. So nice. And then I've got a warmer and even lighter, 2 greens. So I'm going to take this warmer green and I'm just going to again layer right over the top. Come right over, right on the top of that. Oops. There's some up in here. Maybe a little bit out to here. And then I've got this warmer green. I'm just gonna come right over. Let this kind of sit right on the edge of that tree area. Oops. Got some more. Okay. And then we've got hard pastel, and we'll just kind of put him back in. This is where the back and forth. Those hard edges. Okay. I don't want to spend too much time on the details yet because we need to get the water in and make sure we've got enough. Don't run out of time here. So let's go ahead and where is that? Blue and gray. Add a little bit here again. Looking at the tops of that. Okay. Let's see here. Got that gray. Might just use it right on these ridges here. These are kind of nice too if you have them in your painting because it directs your eye right to the water. Add a little bit of lightness into the back. That water kind of comes over. Have this again. Just a little bit of this gray down into the water. Just a little bit over here, not too much. It's still pretty much in shadow. Okay. I'm going to take a white new pastel and just kind of come back in with our water a little bit and put it right in. This very, very light touch. Kind of thinking about it's starting at a horizontal, right? This kind of kind of comes up a little bit high, and then it's coming down here, and then it spills out, right? And then it comes off this little ledge, and then spills out, and then comes and pools right down into here. This is where it kind of lands. And we're kind of at an angle. Kind of comes bunches up right here, comes over. Again, looking at our line. And then you've got some just kind of, I'm going to break my new pastel into a little piece. And I'm not pressing hard because I'm going to add different colors, but I'm just using the white so you can see. We don't normally do white. Okay. And kind of comes around this water where it's this rock, right? And then it comes over. And then it actually kind of comes out over this ledge. And then kind of stops. And then comes down into here. Actually, it would kind of lands right here. Okay. Bye, Cindy. So here, I'll take a picture. How are we doing on time? Okay. All right, you guys. I'll speed up a little bit. Does anyone have questions right now? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add some blue. Actually, I might do a muted purple. Here is some purples I'm going to show you for in the water. So it's kind of like a blue purple in the center, and I'm going to use this more kind of like in the shadow underneath the water, and then I'm going to lay those brights over the top. So I'm going to just bring some of this purple into the water. Because as it's coming over that rock, it's not all, it's white because the water is moving and it's clear. And so it's going to look that way, but really it's not just white. I'm kind of just saying, okay, the water is coming onto the rock and then it moves down to here. And I've got that muted purple. I'll just add a little bit into the water here. Don't want just white water. Doesn't look great. Too washed out. So we're gonna, just like our rocks or anything, we want to layer it with our colors. Even in the shadow part of the water, add some blue. Even over here. Small vertical lines is what I'm using with this blue pastel. It's like a light value. I'll come back in with the darker pastel. Okay. Let's see here. Let's get some purple, warmer purple. I'm using this right into the rocks. I'm going right on the tops. Swooping up here. Maybe a little bit. Can't really see. Maybe just a little bit over here. I'll come back in with, this is like a, I think this is Diane Townsend. They have these big pieces of pastel and they're kind of fun. I haven't had a whole lot of experience with them, but they're kind of nice to do the water because they're wide and they're really gritty. And so this is an off-white. So I'm just going to try it. Kind of dig in and then kind of seems like it gives a nice texture and runs right over your water pretty well. And they're not expensive at all. I didn't think, say it was like a couple dollars for these big monsters. I'm just looking at the really white part of the water and pushing pretty hard, actually. And just kind of blend that out a little bit. The water kind of comes out this way. Look at the direction of the water. Kind of comes off this ledge here. Up here. Okay. Maybe a little bit of this down into here. This is just blue. It almost needs a and then bring back the dark here to blend that line out a little bit. This is where you can come in and paint those negative shapes, right? We kind of have this light brown on the top. It's hitting the top of that, and it's kind of carries up into here a little bit and right along the edge of that. Spiders out the roots. We can add a little bit of that up into here too. It's too light for in the shadow area, so take that dark brown that you had and you can add that shadow part on, or the lighter part on that tree. And then take that dark blue and come back in here. We've got some dark area right in here that's showing that ledge. Same thing right here. You can come right back up into that water and just carve it out just like you do with trees. And then just vertical marks. Using that dark brown for the darkest part. Coming in here and just blending. Now I'm just doing really light. Saying, okay, here's some rocks coming in. Just doing that, carving in those little shadow areas. I know we've been busy doing that throughout this, but now you can really have fun with it, because the dark and the light areas, those edges, when you really have that contrast, that's how you get your eye to follow it, right? So same with water here. Coming back in. Carving out those areas I want. It's also like a nice blending. Okay. I'm gonna add just pressing a little harder. Yes, and please send in so we check our time here. Well, that's cool. Okay. Go ahead and send in so I can look and see where you guys are at. This was not a super easy one, guys. I'm adding just a little bit of this light green. Everyone's in the zone. They're quiet. I like doing this one because we can come back and forth on it. I like that piece of it. And I have to say it was kind of fun doing this black art. I'll definitely try it again. Okay. Might add another marks of some nice warmth just up in here. Maybe just hitting the tops of those rocks. Maybe a little bit over here. And I've got even like a nice warm gold. It's like an orangey almost. Just a little bit. Maybe down in here, that darker orange, some rocks. And then take your purple. Come over it. And then our dark. Kind of just, we have a little bit of that I'm gonna add some of that warm purple kind of back in here. It's in shadow, but it's still giving us a little bit of that warmth. Okay, guys, I think we're getting close to being done. What do you think? Okay. Yes, nice, Will. Yeah, that looks great. Good job. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Much happening with him.
Yep. See how much it takes to build up on this? And then now what I want you to do is, if you want to continue working on it, look at your lights and darks. So see how I was going back in with my darks and then my lights, and I'm bouncing back and forth. So I'm coming in here to the edges and working that. Then that's what I want you to do next if you continue working on it.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yep. Looks great. Oh, wow. Beautiful, Jeannie. Do you love it? I can't hear you.
I'm not thrilled with it.
Okay, so one thing what you can do is your left-hand side. So see how we've got the dark parts? So the purple and brown are looking great. You just need to come in with your darker areas on the side of your waterfall, and then have the movement of the water come up and over those rocks. See how that's kind of coming down in a straight line on the left-hand side?
Mhm.
That's going to read, it's going to show that contour of the rock when you take that water over it. Okay? And so again, it's just thinking shadow. So on the left-hand side, you want it a little darker. Okay? On your rock and your tree. So use a little bit darker colors over there. Same color, but darker. Good. Nice, Natalia. Wow. Yeah, that's really pretty. Very nice. Good. So drift, if anything, drift some of that tree down here, down into that dark area. You know, see how the leaves kind of come down into here?
Mm-hmm.
That will connect your piece up here, your lighter to your dark. What it will do is it will create depth, because then it's saying these trees are kind of canopying over that hillside in the back. You see what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yep. Good. Excellent. Anyone else want to send over their stuff? Julia, how are you doing?
Struggling.
This is a very hard one. It is, you guys. So be proud of yourselves. This is a lot harder than it looked, right?
Really challenging, this one.
It was challenging, was it? What was the hardest part for you? What do you think?
I don't know if I can pick just one. No, I mean, thinking about the construction, the lines, really the preparation, it took a while. And
I agree.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I was saying that earlier, like, that's why I warned you about, it was like painting those tulips. It was going to be a lot of buildup. I could tell right away, and that's just from time learning how when you see pictures. But I knew that it was going to take some time building up. So this is the part of it. This is how we learn, is how much buildup it takes. I have to say the black paper was kind of fun. It's just different. I might not use it very often for you guys just because not everyone has it. And it is, like Julia said, it's kind of hard to tell what colors I'm using. It's only relative to this black paper versus what you're using. So, but good job, guys. Keep working on them. You can send them over. Did you want to send? Okay, good. I was going to say, do you have? Good. Good, Nina. So what I would say, go ahead and look at your lines, right? Look at these lines where the rocks are. Oh, good. Yeah, that's okay, Rashmi. This is a really tricky one. So go right back and watch it again.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah. No, don't. This is good. It does. It's not super easy. So keep practicing. That's all I can say.
Yes.
And very nice, Julia. I love it. See how that purple in the water makes it so nice than if you were just using plain white? It just gives it depth, even though it's so washed out in the picture. Very nice, everyone. I am going to get my second poke here in a few minutes.
Yay!
So I am going to exit out. I'm going to save this recording to the computer, and then I'll send it to Leah when I get back. So keep painting. Have a good week.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day.